Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 8th episode of the Utopia of Hospitality series, brought to you by Boma International Hospitality College, also known as BIHC in short. The Boma International Hospitality College is an international hospitality college offering courses in hotel management and culinary arts. We offer both a certificate in hotel management and culinary arts, and as well diploma in hotel management as well as culinary arts. Also, what we offer is short courses, or also known as business to business or B2B courses. What we have on this special episode for today is among our panelists, we have students who are current students, as well as students who have already completed the courses with us. We're going to have a special discussion here regarding everything we are facing as an industry, okay? How it is that it has come to be our status quo or our new norm, and what it is that the students are anticipating going forward in studying or pursuing a career in hospitality. So we will get started and have them introduce themselves. To start with, I'm going to call on Marline. Okay, Marline, if you please tell us who you are, what you're doing so far, and how the experience has been for you with the current pandemic.
Hello, Alan. My name is Marline Orwa. I am a student at the Boma International Hospitality College, taking a diploma in culinary arts. I'm passionate about so many things, but among the many things, people and music stand out. And the one thing that brings these two together is food, which I also love doing. So I am looking forward to bringing heaven on earth through food. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Enock, could you tell us who you are?
Hello, I'm Enock Maisiba. I'm a student at Boma, but I'm at the final stage of my placement in Boma. I've just done my internship before it was cut off by the pandemic, the corona pandemic. Yeah, I'm looking forward to having a nice time with you today in this show, the 8th episode. Okay, and I love pastry. I do culinary arts, diploma in culinary arts. I love pastry. That's my gospel. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Enock. Rohan.
My name is Rohan Malde. I'm probably the youngest student in Boma right now at the age of 17. I am currently in diploma in hospitality management, and well, I like to help people. That's why I chose to come into hospitality management.
Great. Purity?
My name is Purity Wangui Kihara. I'm an alumni of the Boma International Hospitality College, having completed my Swiss diploma studies in hotel management and awaiting for my graduation. Thank you.
Great. To assist me in this discussion for today's episode, we have Johnson Bugwa, who's in charge of enrollment and marketing at the college. Now, to all our students, you have all told us who you are, what you're doing so far. I picked out from your introduction that there is something common that you have, that you like helping, you like hospitality, okay? Tell us, with the pandemic, how cut short has your helpfulness been? Like, you like helping. Do you find yourselves in a situation where you are not able to help? Let's start with you, Marline.
I think I still help, yeah, because of course there are different ways of helping people, but the interaction part of it is cut short. I love interacting more with people at personal levels, where I get to see you and you get to see me. Of course, not through the screens, but in person, yeah, and that is not possible. But you can still help people. I still help people through different ways. Yeah. Online, we have meetings, we talk about issues that someone is going through and everything. So I think it still works for me.
Great. Purity?
For me, during this time, helping people has, you can say, during discussions, maybe you talk to other people, you call them to find out if they're doing well, especially during this time, many people are affected mentally, and also you can call them and get to know how people are doing. That is also a way I've been able to help people during this time.
Great, thank you very much. Enoch?
By this period, what I can say, the form of help that I give out to people, maybe giving them recipes because I can't meet them to make the food personally. So I try and send recipes and tell them what to do or what not to do. Yeah. And I also do small businesses here and here from my house, which actually helps improve my skills in culinary arts.
Great, thank you very much. Rohan?
My helpfulness has not been that much. Mostly it's gone towards my family and friends. Friends more. My family has gone through some stuff past few days, and well, my helpfulness is just giving them support at this.
Great. Now, you sound like you are coping, okay, with the situation, okay, in different ways. Your experience so far, having studied at BIHC, what have you picked and what has helped you in remaining positive and being able to proceed in helping other people? Purity?
What the things that I've learned from BIHC, especially patience. The school has helped to support us in different ways during this time. The fact that they've not given up during this pandemic has helped us to be able to see that there is hope and we still can work on this career dreams we have in hospitality industry and still get to do well. Yeah.
Great. Marline?
For me, I think what stands out for me is the fact that the school looked into ways of making sure that my learning continues despite the challenges that we are having. And I feel privileged that I have not come to a standstill when it comes to matters to do with education. And I feel like I may not finish, I may not be delayed as much. Yeah, so I think that's what I have learned. And for them to have come up with that, it also motivates me to give my best and to work hard. Because I mean, it's not everyone who gets that opportunity. So I take it and I take advantage of it. Yeah.
Great. Enoch?
At school, I've been taught to use the available resources, and by that, you should be able to be kind of flexible to changes. So this is a change in this period. So I should be able to work from home. Not supposedly, I must not go to work to my job area where it's specifically, but I can work from home and still continue coping up with the change.
All right. Rohan?
Well, the school has done a lot. They, at first, when it first happened, the school just immediately told us to go home, looking at our safety. And they tested out different sites. They tested out Google Classroom, they tested out Google Meet, Zoom. There was also, I think one was Microsoft Teams and all that. And it just shows that the way people can do things nowadays is so much different than what used to happen in the past.
Great, wonderful. Now, Johnson, you have been interacting with these students a lot, okay, especially when the college was running and then the whole pandemic situation started. So how have you held up or continued with this interaction and keeping in touch with or touching base with the students so far?
Thanks, Alan, and it's good to see everyone here. Yeah, it's especially in my role at the college, I interacted a lot, like you say, with the students. So it was quite, it was hard to take. I remember when we had a meeting with the rest of the staff where the president had said that schools need to be shut within a week. And it was tough for us because we were in that dilemma of, should we wait for the week or should we just accept that this is a pandemic? You know, it's not a cold that's passing around. This is something that's actually, unfortunately, devastating economies around the world. So there were many decisions to be made. So it was not just about close and go home and be safe. It was about, if we close right now, which was the most viable solution, close right now, then what, right? Do we wait for the pandemic to end? Do we also close physically as staff and go home as well and wait for the pandemic to end? And one of the main areas that we had to focus on was the communication. Yeah. So communication is very important, especially during this time, because there's a lot of uncertainty, and that lack of physical communication, the lack of a face-to-face communication, it also creates an avenue for rumors, it creates an avenue for panic. So one of the things that we decided to do, which we're still trying to maintain, is to regularly communicate with all stakeholders. With the students, you know, it was about, okay, guys, go home, right? Go home. And then within a week, we're already telling you, okay, look, this is the plan, right? And every week we're coming back to you and saying, okay, this is what we've done so far, and this is what we're going to do next. And then it was not just on email, but we had to call students that we noticed were not opening their emails to read the communication from the school. Then we had to physically call them. Other than that, then we had to use our social media channels even more for even direct communication with our own students, just to make sure that we stand a good chance of communicating with every single member of our student body. So I would say during this pandemic, what has helped us a lot was that constant, non-stop communication with all channels available to us.
Yep. Great. How has been the response from the students when you reached out to them?
Well, mixed, I would have to say, because you know, this was uncharted waters. We were in uncharted waters. This was, no one knew what, we only heard what Zoom was. We only heard what Google Classrooms was. So, you know, the first communication that went out to the students was, guys, we're going to do online learning. So there was a mixed reaction. There was the first reaction, which was, no chance we can do online learning. No chance culinary arts can be done online. No chance housekeeping can be done online. So that was one of the main reactions. But the other reaction was, you know what? This is the reality of the situation. This is where the world is at the moment. So if there's a possibility to do online learning, then students but the feeling was, okay, try it and let's see if it works. Yeah, so it was mixed.
Great. Now, a lot the college concentrates in is culinary arts, which involves practical learning, okay, practical activities. Now, we do not know really how long we will be in lockdown, okay?
Yep.
Considering what it is we're doing right now with a lot of online learning, and I'll throw this question straight at Marline, because this is what you're doing. How ready do you think you will be with the online learning so far at the time when the lockdowns are through? How ready do you think you will be to jump in and pick up the skills that you will have learned online so far?
I think it's a plus. Somehow it's a plus on, yeah, as per me. I feel like there are those moments when we get into the kitchen and we do things, and we are taught like both theory and practical at the same time. But right now we get to focus on the theory part of it more and ask questions. So yes, we may not be examined on that as per now, but the fact that we are going through it and being ready for it, I feel by the time we are getting back to school, we'll be fully prepared and fully ready to do what we've learned in theory, because now it's like we have a deeper understanding than doing it both at the same time. Yeah.
Great, sounds great. Purity, your situation is a little bit weak, and maybe you can take us through what happened to you, okay? Tell us what it is that you were doing and how did you end up right now in the situation that you are in?
On my case, I just completed my Swiss diploma in hotel management, and I'd already finished my last internship for the second year, and I had applied through for another international internship organized by the school. And since the COVID-19 pandemic came at this time, it kind of made me hold on my plans that I had to go for that internship. And not that it didn't only affect the internship, but also my career progression plans, since I had planned after internship to pursue my degree course. And since it has already happened, I had to be open-minded and just wait eagerly so that we're sure like the situation will be in control so that we can now move forward. Yes.
Has this changed your plans drastically? And what is it that has changed most in your plans?
It has changed my plans to for the global experience that I really wanted to experience, and most especially that I wanted to finish my studies very early, but it's something that I can still work on, as we can see that there are online lessons that are coming up, and I can consider that with time until everything is better. Yes.
Good. Enock, your situation is similar to Purity's, okay? You actually had your internship cut short. Would you like to tell us how that went about?
Okay, for me, the internship was not cut off per se. Maybe I was like, it was cut off for, I was remaining like for a week before my internship could come to a stop. But my plans were, after my internship, was to go and do some business and open up a business for a cake shop, maybe a pastry shop. That's just what was cut off from my plans. But as the government has said that as from September the schools will be reopening, maybe I will go straight to the plans which I had, to go back to school, do my 1-year diploma in hotel management back at Boma International Hospitality College. Maybe now I have to look forward for that and put these other plans aside. They were not disrupted that much because I can do the business from home. Yeah.
So do you think with the interruption, if we may call it, there has been some positives in the whole experience at the same time?
Maybe the positives will be the profits that I make from home. I don't have to pay for the rent which I was supposed to pay for. Maybe now the profits which I get from home, because at home everything is provided, like the electricity, it's my parents who pay for it, everything. Yeah. Now that's the positive side of it.
Great. Rohan, tell us about your experience and what are the positives you are picking from this situation and this time?
Well, my experience has been like weird. It's been different because I'm not used to talking to someone through a camera or through a screen. I usually am there with them, I'm talking to them, I know what to say to them, and I would be more fluent with the way I say things. Like if I'm talking like right now, you can tell them it's kind of weird. Yeah. You're talking to a screen. Sometimes you can't even see that person if you're talking on that screen. And well, the positives of this thing are that you can go through it and you can come out stronger. And I think the younger generation is much more common to this. They're not usually, like for me, I grew up playing outside. I was grown up, I used to play almost every day. Nowadays, I see kids on their phones, and I think they would appreciate this style of learning rather than going to a school, sitting down and seeing a teacher. But then also they would also have something missing with that. So the positives are there.
Would you say you are struggling with having to have lessons or communicate in front of a computer all the time?
Oh yes, definitely. It's like I said, it's difficult sometimes also because you can't even see that person. So now you're just talking to a screen with notes. Sometimes when you're presenting, maybe you've done an assignment, you have notes on there, you're presenting, you can't see that person on the end of the computer. You can't see how they're reacting or if they're even listening. Yeah. So you don't know. It's different.
Great. What are we looking forward to in the immediate? Now we have the lockdowns extended for 30 days. Okay. Potentially they could be extended for even longer. How prepared are we, and what are you doing to prepare yourself for an eventual and an eventual ease on the lockdown?
Is that to me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so of course, as an institution, I'll actually throw a question back at you, Alan, because you're a lecturer here. I think as an institution, from the interactions I've had with other lecturers, is that we have the same sentiments as Rohan. I mean, talking to a computer is not fun. I can tell you the number of times when you feel like you're talking to yourself and you have to check whether the students are still there. And that's why the school is insisting that all videos must be on, because it's also psychological that the lecturer can also deliver better if they can see that they're talking to people and not HP, right? But of course, for us as BIHC, as you know, we've stayed positive throughout this period. The pandemic has been in existence since, or rather, COVID-19 has been there for months now. So for us, it had been months that we knew the pandemic was going to hit us. It was just a matter of when. And when you come to accept that even in life, as you guys know, sometimes when you come to accept the reality of your situation, then it makes it easier for you to improve, right? Or to prepare. So we already started preparing. We already knew that at some point, BIHC, we will have to do some social distancing, right? For staff, for the students. We knew that we are in a practical centric industry. So we knew that there would have to be some form of social distancing, some form of extra care, especially, for example, in the kitchen, in the restaurants as well. So we started thinking ahead. So I don't want to give you guys everything that we are planning, because at the end of the day, we have to seek approval from the government. But we can already tell you guys as students that it might take a while before all our student body is here at the same time, right? So what we are preparing for now, to answer your question, Alan, is small numbers. Small numbers, heavy rotation. I'm just saying this to all the students out there: be prepared to have some classes on weekends. So it's all about adaptability. Alan, what about you? How's it been for you as a lecturer?
Well, for me, there have been, I wouldn't say positives or negatives as such. I would say there have been issues that I have been able to cope with that I did not think I would. And then there are those that I have found a little bit of a difficulty to almost accept. Okay. First of all, yes, sitting in front of a laptop, I always have this imagination that somebody is recording me somewhere and I look really like a cartoon just talking to myself. Okay. The flip side of it is it has aided a lot in terms of numbers. Okay, when you have a physical class and you have 50 or 60 students, or even 70 or 80, it tends to be really difficult to coordinate and maintain a physical oversight of that class. Now with the online learning, that has become extremely easy, okay, because I have all 60 of you on my screen, and then I can decide who to mute and who to unmute. Okay, so so in that sense, in terms of the oversight, the technology has helped and made it easier. Okay, the delivery of content surprisingly has been exactly the same, or actually even better. I thought at one time that we would be going through the content at a faster pace, at a faster rate, so we might be done with the course outline or the course plan after 4 or 5 weeks. But I find myself now maintaining the exact same schedule online as I would have been with physical classes. Controlling attendance has been good. The response from the students has been amazing, I must say. So yes, the physical aspect of it is missing. It is something that, for me personally, that is one of the factors I considered when I chose this career path. Okay, I like talking to people. Now, I'm not saying I'm talking to a machine. I'm still talking to people, but then it feels kind of awkward. Okay. So if I may express it in a way to understand it, is like, if you wear glasses, okay, try and remember the first time you ever wore glasses. Okay, you had never been used to seeing through a pair of glasses in front of you, and then suddenly you have something to make you see better. Okay, so the experience has been that way. At the beginning, it was like getting a brand new pair of glasses, and now you're seeing things in a totally different way. Then it takes a little bit of time until you acclimatize, and then once you start seeing clearly, everything becomes easier going forward.
Yeah. I get you completely. And I don't know, so that's from a lecturer. So Alan says that for him, he feels like he's delivering content in a more efficient way. And I think I completely understand what he means is that now it's more personalized. Marline, where you're seated now, you're alone, right? Which is different from being in a physical class where I'm not saying other people are disruptive, but you may easily get distracted by someone sitting next to you opening a bottle of water. That already just takes your mind off it. I don't know, maybe you can tell us from a student perspective, are you understanding better?
So for me, it involves a lot of discipline, because now you're not with people around you, and I am sitting in front of a screen. You have no idea what I'm doing with my hands down here. You have no idea what is happening in my environment. So again, it involves a lot of self-discipline, because there are times, of course, there are some lessons you find interesting and others you find like, can we just get done with this? And so when it's not physical, it's even worse, because now you have to keep speaking to yourself. Marline, you know what? You have to concentrate. You have to give it your all. Be here, like put effort. Yeah. So for me, I wouldn't say that has become better, but again, it's good. Something I don't like, or I find a bit disturbing, is because now we have people everywhere, like everyone is everywhere at the same time, and we are in the same meeting. So it takes time for the other person probably to get the information that is being passed across. So sometimes you hear someone saying, excuse me, could you please say it again? Could you please say it again? And we are saying it again and again. And sometimes it becomes a bit frustrating, I think. Yeah, but it's been interesting. And I feel like I've become more disciplined than I would have been if it were physical. Yeah.
Great. Rohan, let me ask you. I'm going to be a bit direct on a certain area. Your experience so far with the online learning, okay? What has been the funniest moment you have experienced so far?
The funniest moment is a student on mute. You can hear the mom shouting in the background, "Get me water!" That's the funniest for me. It's happened to me a couple of times. Like I've heard my mom, I've heard my dad. So yeah, it's kind of funny to see people. But then it's also, they're in the house. They don't have that much privacy with each other. They are always together. And nowadays, well, I've been in this house for 3 months, so you can tell, like, I think it even gets frustrating at a point, because normally you're out 8 hours for school, and then you're home 4 hours, and then you're sleeping. And then again, you're out 8 hours, 4 hours, and then sleeping. So I think now that it's gone from 12 hours of 8 hours of sleeping and 12 hours of seeing that same person in the same place the whole day. So I think it also gets frustrating for some people.
Great. We have a comment here from a viewer, okay, and this is also a viewer who's a student with us. He says he feels the same way as Marline has outlined for us, okay, that some modules, yes, are way too practical and would be better delivered physically than online. So as far as he's concerned, this has been a little bit of a challenge in understanding or capturing content that should be lectured physically, okay, or practically compared to online. Would you say that is the case with you, Rohan?
Yeah, like some things like accounts you can't do online. Accounts, the guy has to show you how to draw the thing. how to label them. It's not something you can do practically because you can't go onto Microsoft Word. It will take around 5 to 10 minutes to draw the account table. So I think some things like drawing accounts would take a lot longer. Even sometimes even stuff like practical cooking and practical service, it's different because you can't be there. The teacher is also talking you through the computer. Like for me, I remember watching a video of Mr. Simon. He's showing us how to place the plate on the table. And I'm thinking in my head, it's so weird that I was there at that time when he was teaching us this, and now I have to learn it through a computer. And I can't even do it myself because we don't have such things. Like some things you won't have at home, you'll miss, whereas the restaurant would have it. Like even our school restaurant had it. So it's some things you can't do through the computer.
And I think I agree with Rohan. Alan, I think we're both professionals in the industry, and we went through an education system when there was no pandemic, thank God. And there were those things. Honestly, even when we were there physically with the lecturer, we still had to like revisit, even when the lecturer was there physically, right? And I completely understand, like in F&B service, for example. So I think at BIHC, that's one of the things, because our staff and I think our faculty, the majority hospitality professionals, was again coming to terms with that, accepting that, and not being in denial, not saying, oh, look, we can transfer culinary arts online. Impossible. Or we can transfer housekeeping or F&B service online. Impossible. So I like what Marline said initially, where there's also a very heavy aspect of theory that people don't really know about with our industry. Everyone thinks we're all becoming servers and we're becoming receptionists and we're becoming cooks, but we forget that at the end of the day, these big hospitality companies, the hotels, the restaurants, hospitality schools, and so on, they're also run by hospitality professionals, and there's a big element of theory, right? Sales and marketing, human resource management. So basically here, it's about, I think, an institution right now, and I can see there are other members of other hospitality institutions out there. I think the thing is, you can use this period, this pandemic period, instead of closing down and waiting to come back. Why don't you focus on the human resource? Why don't you focus on sales and marketing now? Because even when we get open, from what we believe is, they're not just going to be like, open your school, bring back 400, 500 students all at once. You're going to still have to social distance. You're still going to have to rotate. You're still going to have small classes. So if you're going to be done by then with your theories, then it'll be a good opportunity to now focus on your practicals.
Great. Purity and Enoch, okay, you face the situation that you are done with your time studying at BIHC. What scares you the most going forward, considering the pandemic? Purity?
Maybe
Yes, Enoch.
for me, maybe I can say I'm scared. Maybe I just started work. Like, let's say somebody who started working at an hotel like Kempinski last month, and then this month is announced that there'll be some of them will be pulled down for redundancy because of the pandemic. Now let's say I've just started my work. I've just started working in a certain place, and in a few months' time, when I'm about to settle down, then I'm told that the work will be cut off, no payment, something like that. Oof. But it needs us to have a backup plan. Yeah.
For you, Purity?
On my case, I could not really say it as being scared, but I'm worried about the the kind of changes that are happening, especially we have people who are losing their jobs, and it means that I'll have to be more better in the hospitality industry in order to get good jobs, since now they're reducing the number of workers in the hotel industry because there will be no more that direct contact with the guests. Yes, but now it is now being open-minded and getting to understand the changes and know what to do to be able to be better so that I can still fit in this hotel industry.
Right. What has BIHC done so far, okay, to make sure that you as students who have already completed your diploma courses with us, to ensure that you're ready and prepared to pick up the industry once the lockdowns are done? Enock?
Come again? May you please come again?
What has been the contribution from the college, okay, that has been encouraging for you, that you can say this has helped me a lot and it will help me once the lockdowns are done?
Okay, like the school started this channel, the Utopia of Hospitality. It has been a big, let's say, support, because you hear what plans for the hospitality industry as a whole from various, maybe let's say CEOs, managing directors. So you see, yeah, there is hope at the end of the tunnel, yeah. And also, let's say sometimes you can call back at school for some advice on something. Yeah, the school has been of great help to me.
Purity, for you?
The school has really been of support, I could say that. The fact that we are able to get back to them and get advice from them on how things are turning out, and them also having platforms where we can have online classes, online short courses, classes. It has really helped us not actually waste our time at home, but to also continue to improve our career knowledge. Yes.
Great. Johnson, what are you doing now, okay, in preparation to help out with the ease of the lockdowns?
In preparing for the reopening, you mean, of the college?
Yes.
Oh, I can't even. I think we'll be here all day if I was to list down all the kind of changes that are going to be made at the college. So I'll start with the exciting news is that BIHC was already on an expansion, on a facilities expansion project that you guys know about, right? So phase one was addition of new classes, and the reason why we did that was not well, one of the reasons was because there was increased demand from students to join us, but it was also because we wanted to make smaller classes. And I think by the time, Enock, you were completing, you had smaller classes, right? Smaller class sizes.
Yeah.
So that was number one. So it's almost like we started preparing for the pandemic indirectly about a year ago. Now, phase two is our new kitchen, right? So now we have the production kitchen on the other side. We have two of the ISKs and the DSKs, the individual stove kitchens. And then now we have the new kitchen that's about to be complete and a new training restaurant. So that's number one, is that we're going to have to completely utilize all our resources here physically, right? So at no point will our kitchens not have students in them, because if we're saying we're going to bring in small numbers as opposed to 20, then there's going to be crazy rotation. So I can tell you the academics department is working on the new timetable for when the students come back, right? So we'll definitely factor in social distancing. Then there's going to be a raft of changes in terms of for example, at a training restaurant where the students had lunch, right? That place could normally fit up to 300 students. Now we can't have 300 students there. So of course, there's going to be changes at that place. Where do students sit? On top of that is, before we had students lining up to go collect their food. Now we have to think, is that safe? Do we still want to go that way? So these are the changes. Then there's obviously sanitizers. I heard the chefs proposing a few very, I thought, very smart ideas of even sanitizing students' shoes before they enter the kitchen, right? Probably sanitizing people's entire bodies before they come into the college. There's a lot of work to be done here, but what I can assure you, especially the students that are coming back, is, trust me, we will consider every single thing that will ensure that your health is our priority. Yeah.
Great. Now, let me ask you something else, Johnson.
Yeah.
In a situation like Purity's, where she was preparing to go for an international internship, what is the situation with these internships that were being prepared for? Are they threatened, or are these agreements still intact?
Yeah, thanks. That's a good question. So what we do with all our international partners is that we sign MOUs with them, right? So it's MOUs, number one, to cement the relationship between us and them, to allow us to engage in marketing activities, but also with a promise that when our students or alumni go to their properties, for example, Hilton in the Middle East, is that they'll give you a contract, they'll take care of you. If they promise to pay you $400 a month, then that's already in agreement with the college. So of course, these agreements can be terminated, right? Just like any other agreement. But I'm very happy to tell you guys that we have not had the case. If anything, all our partners are very excited to open up their businesses and work with our students again. But that's also testament to the students and alumni who have been going abroad before the pandemic, going out there and making a good name for themselves and for BIHC. So the MOUs are still in place, all of them, in the USA, in the Middle East, in the Caribbean, and we're even looking at others, even now as we speak, in Asia. But of course, at the end of the day, it all comes down to the demand in terms of business volumes, because that's what also determines the demand for trainees in the businesses. But as soon as the demand increases in the hotels or improves in the hotels, the airspaces are open, I believe we will still be able to provide our paid internships to the students.
Great, that sounds extremely encouraging for our students. Now, talking about the future, and I'd like all the students to answer this, considering their respective situations right now. First, I'll start with the students who are still with us, Marline and Rohan. The two of you being so young, okay, what inspired you to join BIHC, and what do you plan to do with your education in future, regardless of the pandemic situation?
Well, my plan is still the same, is to finish college, hopefully get an internship, international internship. And then my plan was to go to Switzerland to do the final year over there. And as what I can see in the way we're still going, the plans are still there. Because I think the only way the plan would stop is that if something drastic happened, like maybe we weren't able to go for the internship if this pandemic continues for 3 more years, then I think that's when my plan will start to halt, because mine is still going on, because I'm still finishing my second year. The internship, Boma said that they could also push it to the end, and instead of doing 3 months at the end, You just do a whole 6 months straight away, and then you can go for your international internship. So I think well, for me, it's still the same. So even if I finish this term, I can still go on to term 4, term 5, and then go for the internship. So yeah, there's nothing changing yet. I think, like I said, 2 years, 3 years, then something drastic will change. Then I'll have to rethink everything. Otherwise, for now, it's fine.
Great. Nice to hear that. Marline.
I think I'm also on the same page with Rohan. I don't feel like so much has changed, and I would say thanks to the school for acting so fast on this. Yeah, like I said earlier, it's amazing how school ended. I mean, we were sent out of school because of the pandemic, and immediately we were starting our online classes for us to finish up the term. We did our exams online. We were graded online. So it's like nothing really came to a stop for me, and I still have plans. So at the end of the 2 years, I would also like to go for the international internship, and I am praying and hoping that things will remain intact. The agreements will still be in place, and then maybe after that, I also get to go for the degree in Switzerland, sorry. Yeah, so I don't think so much has changed, and I'm just so grateful that I can still continue learning. Yeah, but I also feel like there's a plus on my end, because right now we are dealing with units such as Kenyan concept, let me say that. And it's amazing how my mind is now open to the fact that, you can actually start working on a plan on how you want to set up a business, like working on the feasibility study, finding out the workability of everything. It's just amazing. It opens up my mind to the fact that everything is possible. And I feel like this time, um, I'm being built up. Like there's so much that is being added to me. Units like financial accounting. I mean, after the pandemic, obviously the economic level would have gone down, and people outside there will be looking for not just a culinary arts graduate who knows how to make good food and the taste and the creativity is on point, but also being able to manage finances, being able to take that as a business. Because I mean, you can have all the creativity, but if you do not factor in the fact that this is a business and you have to give back, then you see it does not add up. So for me, I would say the plan still sticks, and I am so happy.
Great. Thank you for that. Enock and Purity, with all that you have so far and what you have acquired, do you foresee a future career as an entrepreneur or a mainstream corporate professional?
For me, my plan, maybe I can say I want to, like, I both of them, I'll take both of them. I'll start, maybe I'll first of all, I'll work somewhere to gain more experience in the field, in the industry, before I can set up my own. Maybe for me, I want to start in 7 years time. I want to start my own chain of restaurants. So yeah, I'll be taking both of them.
Okay, great. What about for you, Purity?
On my case, I will also venture on both. Especially, I'll want to do more of experience so that I'm able to understand more on how hospitality works, and so that I may be able to come up with new ideas to the changes that are coming up in order to be able to start different kind of businesses in the hospitality aspect. Yeah.
Great.
Alan,
Yes, John.
I noticed you're the one asking questions here. Can I ask you a question, please? Sorry, guys. Yes.
Are
Yeah.
we all still online?
Yes. Yes.
Can hear you.
I think it was Zoom. Zoom collapsed.
Yeah.
Or maybe Alan, you got scared. I was about to ask you a question.
Yes. I'm thinking out.
Okay. So I don't know if the students know this, but and other viewers out there, but Alan, you've been doing a lot of hotel pre-openings and openings. Could you maybe tell us about that and what we expect now moving forward?
Yeah. Yes, it's true. Hotel pre-openings and reopenings and new establishment setups is an extremely, for me, it is an extremely interesting path that I did not really know existed before. I coincidentally got into one, okay? And after I got into it, the first pre-opening I ever did, I figured out at the end of it from the experience there that this is something you either do it one time. After doing it the first time, you will either have the passion to do it again and again, or you will hate it so much and never ever do it again. Okay. Now, with the influx and the number of new hotels that have been coming up in Nairobi and in Kenya generally, in the region as well, East Africa, the number of new hotels that have been coming up and the number of new hotels that are still going to come up, there has been a shortfall of that skill of being able to set up a new establishment. It is totally different when it comes to the routine of a hotelier, about your tasks, what you do during a pre-opening setup, and what you do when you're working in an operating hotel that is running already, okay? So it is always totally different from one establishment to another, okay? The thing that is exciting is hotel startups always involve an element of trial and error, because you don't really know what to expect, okay? You have not been operating in this thing, so you need to set it up, start running it, and then see what is going well, maintain it, what is not going well, fix it. If it improves, well and done, then you have set up a new standard. If not, demolish it or go back to scratch, try something else and keep trying until it works out. So hotel openings are not smooth, okay, but they're extremely exciting. What is going, or what we think is going to be different now with this whole situation, is the inclusion of the hygiene aspect, okay? And this is being talked of so much that at one point it seems like, wait, are our hotels not hygienic at all? Why is it all of a sudden like there's so much talk about hygiene? So the issue here is, no, hygiene has always been a very important consideration, okay, for hotels. But now with the pandemic, it has gone to a level that was not expected. Now, the point that is going to create a big difference is the inclusion of new hygiene standards is actually going to eat up on other areas of hotel operation. For example, social distancing, okay? So we learn in hospitality that personalized service is good and is encouraged, but now with new health standards, you have to keep distance from personalized service, you know? So the new hotel setup is going to have to include an element of extreme hygiene, okay, reliable hygiene, at the same time maintaining a level of service that is personal enough to keep our guests and have a personal service experience in our high-class hotels. So that is what we see right now from from us as operators. It is still yet, right now we're trying to anticipate, and with the Utopia series, we're trying to come up with ideas of what to expect, or how do we prepare for the new type of client going forward, okay? So right now, experience has always been a demand, okay, for clients. How much that is going to change with new hygiene levels, we are yet to see. How is technology going to play a part? Fortunately, for a lot of areas within a hotel operation, these are things that had already started taking place, okay? So for example, instead of a physical registration card at a front desk, we'd already started seeing electronic registration cards, or a registration or a check-in process where you can check into your hotel room using your own mobile phone. So you don't have to get physically in touch with a piece of paper where you have to sign and then touch it with your hand, okay? So to a certain level, a lot has already been covered. Now it is a trial and error phase of, let us find out how it is that we can assure our guests and our employees in a hotel that it is safe enough to keep on working in our hotels.
Yeah. And
I have a question for Johnson.
yeah,
Yes.
sure.
As you're the head of enrollment in Boma, I was wondering, what do you think your student percentages for next year will be? Do you think more students will enter the hospitality industry, or less students will enter the hospitality industry?
That's a very good question. That's a very good question. Now, we've already seen a decline in the number of students enrolled, right? Even just from the previous intake that we had. One reason for a decline would be financial, because, for example, if your parents or your financial sponsors are business people whose businesses have been affected by the pandemic, then they will not be able to afford the school fees at this point, right? So that's number one. Number two is what's happening in the hospitality industry, in the global hospitality industry right now is scary, right? It's scary when we wake up every day and we hear so-and-so has closed down, so-and-so has let off their staff, so-and-so has said that their staff is redundant. But one thing that I'd like to point out, and that's why we have this series, is because this industry is very resilient, okay? So what it's done is it survived the world wars, actually, right? It survived pandemics, and now it's going to survive another pandemic. Why is that? Is because there's always demand for luxury, especially luxury travel, right? I think if you've been following the series over the past few episodes, you'll see all these people are CEOs, MDs, GMs, all of them very confident, right? The reality is that right now, where we are, things are thick, right? But the industry will bounce back. It'll take some time. It could take a year, could take slightly more, but it will bounce back. Yeah. There's also the fact that Kenya is a developing economy, right? With heavy interest in hospitality, especially with our game parks and whatnot. So, Rohan, it's very tricky right now to determine whether people will still have confidence in the industry. But then here comes another angle, which is the government, right? So the industry will rely very heavily on the Ministry of Tourism, right, through the Kenya Tourism Board, to market Kenya as much as possible. So that's number one, is that we need to return. We were very reliant on international arrivals. Now the airspace is closed, so we're not getting any arrivals. So number one is that the Kenya Tourism Board needs to go out and market Kenya as much as possible to bring in the tourists. But there's the other angle. Here, the government should have learned something from this pandemic, that there's an over-reliance on international tourism, on international conferencing. maybe it's time for us to focus a little bit more internally. Think of local tourism. Yeah. We have very many attractions here in Kenya that even we as Kenyans don't visit. It's almost like we've said, Izon is a Europeans, Izon is the Americans, but this is our home. So, and on top of that, there's also the Africans, right? Intra-African travel, right? Get the Burundians here, get the Namibians here, but Kenyans also go to Namibia. You don't always have to go to Paris, right? Go see what's in Botswana, go see what's in Nigeria. The Nigerians as well, come see the Great Migration. So the industry needs the government support so that it can bounce back as quickly as possible. And with that, people will see that the industry is not that bad. It's a huge employer, 1.2 million people in Kenya employed by hospitality. So in the short term, just to summarize, in the short term, probably a decline in interest in this industry, but eventually it'll bounce back.
Great. Johnson, I've got a question here from a viewer who's also a student, Ashibira Collins. He's asking, in a situation where you have students who are bound to finish their studies in 8 weeks' time, okay? They're not going through the practical sessions right now. So upon completion, all right, is there a plan to consider them coming back to redo their practical sessions?
Yeah, so Ash is term 5, yeah. So you're in the last term before you're meant to go out on internship. So for all the students, including Rohan and Marline, one thing that you should know is that we cannot even issue your diploma or your degree without completing a certain number of hours as stipulated in your course outline, right? I think you guys have seen that. You have a certain number of hours per course. So if it's practicals, let's say you need to complete 288 hours of practical units per year. So Ash, whether the pandemic ends or whether we are opened up next month or in September or in December or in February, you will not be able to complete your studies without doing your practicals. And yes, that's definitely already been factored in.
Great. Now, so I would like to ask from our panelists, our students, any closing remarks you would have that future students and current students can take with them, okay, as encouragement, looking at the future, both the near future and the distant future. Start with Marline.
I think that,
yes, Rohan.
Sorry. I was going to say that people will bounce back. I think right now, as you can see, New York has started to open again, and the rush has already come out. I think people are getting tired of their houses, the same four walls, and I think, and people will obviously want to go out, have something. In fact, I think more people want to go to a bar nowadays than stay in their own house. Yeah, they would rather go out with a friend than stay in their own house. So I think as it starts to open again, you'll see this influx that no one else has ever seen before. And that's why I think we should all, maybe the percentage you should watch and get into hospitality, because I think that would help a lot. Yeah.
Great, thank you very much. Marline?
For me, I would say it's important to remain positive. It's very important to remain positive. And it's also important that you look at it from another angle of try and make yourself better. Yeah, just like Purity mentioned that she has to now put a lot more effort in trying to make her stand out in the industry. Because now we cannot all be at the same level and we expect all of us to be taken in. Like there's a need for us to arise and stand out. So I think it's important to take this time and just think out of the box, because the world looks for solution, like those people who bring solution, not people who bring problems after problems after problem. Yeah. So if we have a problem right now, we cannot come physically and be taught and receive education. Now, what's the solution? And the solution that has come up right now currently is having the online classes. And so if you don't have another solution, then let's work with this until another solution comes up, or until you have an idea of what else we can do, if not this. I also like, okay, I would talk to now, there are those who have complaints of connections and all that, but I love that BIHC records all our sessions. They record every single lecture that takes place. So again, you have access to the lectures. So I feel like an excuse has been taken out. Like you have no excuse to say that you are not able to continue with your learning as it was planned. So for me, I would say remaining positive and seeing the good out of everything. Yeah.
Great, that's very encouraging. Thank you very much. Purity.
What I could say is that the pandemic won't last a lifetime, so we should still remember that our dreams are still valid. And as I had mentioned earlier, it's you to work on becoming better, because things are going to be tougher because we have to adapt to the changes that are going to happen. So don't relax, work hard to improve and get more knowledge, because there's a lot of knowledge out there now that there's online learning. So still work on what your goals are, and yes, everything will be well.
Great, thank you very much. Enock?
Okay, we will always come back big. Yeah. And you should not, your hope should not go down. You should not be negative, because like you should take
Oh, I think we lost it.
more time for training, maybe at home, in the kitchens at home. Yeah, you should do more training at home, and to gain more knowledge from this. You should, at least you should.
I think Enock, do you hear us? Are you still there?
Okay. I'm sure I'll be back. Right?
Yeah.
So, Alan, any last words before we close?
Yes, last words for me. I actually have a unit to go and lecture right now. I have been extremely impressed by the level of positivity that is there, especially with our current students, Rohan and Marline. For Purity and Enock, you remain being positive. We will always be there to assist you in every way we can. Okay, and we really look forward to delivering on our promise to ensure that you are ready for the industry.
Good. So for me, I want to thank all of you for making time today to be here, Rohan, Marline, Purity, and Enock, as well as everyone else who's watching. My final remarks would be this, and it's not an easy time for any one of us, not for you, not for the institution, not for the government. Lives have been lost through this pandemic. the industry, our own industry is now, I heard Chef Rubia when he was speaking with Chef Chris, we heard him say that our industry is in ICU, yeah? So, which is the reality. Now, for this industry to bounce back, it's going to take all of us. It's going to take the government, like I've said. It's going to take those professionals that have been on this show. It's going to take you as students. It's going to take us as the academic institutions. All of us right now have to come together. It's going to take even just that Kenyan out there who would go out to eat in a restaurant, who would go out to sleep in a hotel in Mombasa once things are better. So we are all going to have to be in this together. From a BIHC context, it's very important that the reason why we're doing online learning is to make sure that this pandemic is not an excuse as to why you were meant to graduate in 2021 and ended up graduating in 2022, right? So it's very important that you also take charge, as Marline said, be responsible, be disciplined. This is your life at the end of the day. You know, I see a situation where, Marline, you finish your education, I think at the end of next year or mid next year, right? And already then, hopefully the industry is recovered and you're going to do your international internship in Dubai or in the US or wherever it is. Same with you, Rohan. This is an opportunity for you to finish your diploma studies here and immediately go to Switzerland. No time has been lost. Rohan, you said that you want to be the youngest GM in Kenya, right? Now, at least if you don't do it, you can't say, oh, kulikuwa na pandemic, right? You had everything, all the resources were available to you. So my final words would be that I'm complete with Rohan and completely with all the other panelists that have been here, that the industry will bounce back. It's not a good time for any one of us, but together we'll be fine. Yeah?
Yes, we will.
Good. So thank you all once again. We will be seeing you on Friday on the next episode, and we will be announcing our very special panelists in the course of today. So have a good afternoon, everyone, and see you.
All right.
Bye.